and her husband, Sarah Sahu. Damali?
I'm really glad to be here with everyone this evening, and I'm proud to be representing the Gleaners board as we launch our collaboration and partnership with HungerMitao. I am joined here today with my husband, Sarah Sahu, who I'll let introduce himself, and then I'll take it back and then introduce Jerry. Sarah?
It's really a privilege for both of us to be here today. And we just wanted to say welcome to everyone who's able to join the Gleaners board and HungerMitao here today. Damali and I have just shared a passion for the last 25 years of our marriage since we were little law students, just trying to figure out how to change the world. But we shared this passion for really making sure that we're helping others and that we're active in the community. And it's just so wonderful to see Damali as part of this board of people who are deeply committed to taking care of the needs of entire Southeast Michigan and solving issues of food insecurity. And so what Gleaners is doing is just really, truly amazing. And it's been wonderful just to see her be part of that and support it. And we really just wanted to thank so much Raj and Anna for the inspiration that they provided in starting this movement in meeting the needs of 40 million people, 40 million meals of 40 million folks who are hungry in this country. It's really inspiring. And so the opportunity for the Indian community to come together and show its power and passion to work together with Gleaners to solve these sorts of problems is just really fantastic. And so we're together just pleased and proud and honored to be a part of it. We thank you all for being here and hope you jump in and get involved.
Thanks, Sarah. Nice you. I married him. He's a good mouthpiece for me. I've been with the Gleaners board for a little over 4 years now, and am amazed every single year by how much Gleaner is able to accomplish under the leadership of Jerry. When I first met him, I can honestly say I've never met someone with such a passion and enthusiasm and ability to talk, as long as you let them talk, about how to solve the issues of food insecurity in Southeast Michigan and in our communities. And we also bonded over our love of a good, strong morning cup of coffee. And when we had that part of the conversation, I knew it was an organization that I needed to be a part of. Under Jerry's leadership, he's been with Gleaners for 15 years. He's been the CEO for the past 7 years. We've been able to do amazing things. And if he won't toot his own horn, I'll do it for him. Under his leadership, Gleaners was appointed the 2019 Food Bank of the Year by Feeding America. And in 2020, the Detroit Free Press readers voted Gleaners the 2020 nonprofit of the year. So just amazing accomplishments. Of course, we don't do this for the awards. Jerry doesn't do this for the awards. He cares deeply about our communities and making sure that everybody has a good start in life and solving food insecurity problems. And so I'll turn it over to Jerry. Thank you.
Well, Damali, you are too kind, but thank you. And I do appreciate. I have an amazing team at Gleaners, and one of our sayings is, if I have to do anything, we've made a mistake, and that's because I've got a lot of great people that know how to do stuff. So I will say this: it is so wonderful to see everybody here, and we are honored to have been asked by Raj and Anna to be one of the early food banks involved in HungerMitao. We got on a call, we started talking. I don't know where the time went, but the next thing you know, the energy was solid. The clear focus on and really a passion for how do we take care of those in our community who suffer from food insecurity and hunger, because it's really hard to accomplish anything else if that's the problem that you're addressing. And that's especially true with children. And so it was really obvious, the deep passion and the zeal and the willingness to get in there and do whatever it takes. And so we're just really honored to be one of the food banks invited to be part of this. A little bit about Gleaners, just so you know who Gleaners is and a little bit about what we do. So we're one of just over 200 Feeding America food banks in the United States. Between us, we serve every county in the United States, including in Alaska and Hawaii. So what we do is work with a network of agencies to help us distribute food to people in a lot of different ways. Those agencies can be pantries, they can be schools, they can be soup kitchens or community centers. They can be a parking lot where a mobile distribution can happen. But what food banks do is manage all of the logistics of collecting large donations of food and getting that food to the organizations that see the people who need the help. And it's that network of trust that food banks have built across the country that makes us really able to take advantage of all the volunteers that we need and to be able to do effective food drives and really raise millions and millions of pounds of free food. We also purchase food, but fundamentally, it's this network of people that give, people that volunteer, and the people that need help that bring our community together in this very special way. Gleaners was the first food bank in Michigan, one of the first food banks in the country, and we were founded in 1977. And at the time, our founder, Gene Gagne, who's a former Jesuit brother who did farming for the Jesuits, and he grew up on a farm in Ohio, he became aware that there was barges full of food being dumped in the ocean because there was nothing else to do with it. And quite frankly, he got angry. He was like, this is ridiculous. There's people that need food, and we're literally dumping barges full of food in the ocean. And a lot of the people that founded food banks started from that passion. We can't let food go to waste when we have hungry people in our country. And so Gleaners, like many food banks, started, right up from our bootstraps. We had to learn everything from the beginning, but we did know there were a few things it would take to be successful. We would need volunteers. We would need food. We would need to provide excellent service for the partner agency that we work with to get directly to people. We would need facilities and information technology to process and fulfill orders from these pantries so that people knew what they were getting and they'd be able to get it on time. At the beginning, there were only 12 agencies, but in that first year, those 12 agencies, along with the food bank, distributed 500,000 pounds of food. Last year, we had over 600 partner agencies distribute just over 71 million pounds of food to our community. Now, a lot of people go, wow, is the community need that big? And the fact of the matter is, prior to the pandemic, there were over 700,000 food insecure people in just the 5 counties that Gleaners serves. And during the pandemic, that number went over 850,000. 850,000 people. Now, on average, a food insecure person misses 5 meals a week. That's the average. Some are more, some are less. But if you multiply 5 meals a week times 850,000 people, it gives you a little bit of an idea of the scope of the problem. And this in a community that really has the resources to address the problem. But we have to have the will, right? We have to have the will. And HungerMitao is about helping us create that will and that movement and that sense of not only urgency because it's an important problem to solve, but that sense of hope and possibility that it actually can be solved. And that's the beauty of a marriage like this for the food bank. We're getting smarter and better all the time. We're learning the community better. I mean, there's so many things we've learned about nutrition and about the importance of nutrition for children and seniors and why we have to balance the food that we distribute so that people get not only fed, but also healthy. We know those things are important. We're getting better at all those things, but we can't get it done if we don't have the movement to support it. So I just want to say we are honored to be part of the HungerMitao movement. And we're really grateful for all of you that showed up today to join us in kicking off what we think is going to be an exciting chapter in our evolution as a food bank. And I now have the privilege of just briefly introducing Raj and Anna, who have been such important advocates for this issue of food security within the Indian community, but within the community of people who support food security. And in so many ways, in professional life and in your personal life, you've connected the dots between the people that want to get it done and the people that can get it done. So my understanding is you're at about 40 million meals of successfully just through HungerMitao, and that probably doesn't include all of the other things you've done personally to support this work. That's just HungerMitao, and I don't know if you're keeping tally of all those other things, but I think that's incredible. We know you're coming to Michigan soon, so we can't wait to see you. And again, thank you so much, and let me turn this over to you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you, folks. This is just amazing. It's good to be back home virtually. As many of you may know, we are actually Michiganders. You know, I came to United States back in 1974 from Mumbai to Michigan. And I was in Michigan for the first, 21 years of my life in Michigan. And then Anna was there with me for 13 years before we moved out to other locations. But it's good to be back home. Thank you very much, Jerry, Seal, Damali, team, all the folks who have joined in today. Thank you very much. HungerMitao is all about a community-driven movement, and without all of you, it would be empty. So thank you for joining. 4 years. That's amazing. We just celebrated 4-year anniversary of HungerMitao on September 29th. And this here today is our 7th chapter of HungerMitao being launched across the country. We are totally thrilled.
4 years, and like Jerry said, just over 40 million meals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a story that the Indian American community should be really proud of. And it didn't happen by the efforts of 1 or 2 or 20 or 100 people. It took, it was communities that came together. It was discrete regional groups like the Gujaratis, the Maharashtrians, the Telugu, the Bengalis, everybody came together.
The Marwadis.
The Marwadis, yeah. Yes. So all of these smaller groups that now call US their home, they all came together. It was also made possible by companies, by business owners, by business leaders, by company ERGs, the Indian resource groups of companies like AT&T, American Airlines, Southwest, Accenture, Verizon. And I know we have several people from Ford, GM, Delta tonight. Yep. So it takes everybody's effort, but what made a difference was the unification of all these efforts.
You're so right, Anna. This was also possible because of the Christians, the Muslims, the Sikhs, the Buddhists, the Hindus, all coming together and declaring a war against hunger in our Karma Bhumi. And for my American friends, Karma Bhumi means the land where we make a living. This is our adopted land. And we really believe this country that has given so much to us, we have to find opportunities to give back. And what better opportunity than the basic necessity of a human being, which is food. So we are very excited that the community is joining forces, and they are doing this, by the way, this fight against hunger in 4 ways. They're doing it by lending their voice. They are raising awareness. They want to make sure they are not an ignorant community. They are raising awareness about the hunger issue that's right here in our backyard. They are doing this by getting out and volunteering with the food bank. Clearly the food bank, when they can provide 3 meals to $1, it's not by accident. It's because they have army of volunteers that come out there. So folks, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And we also did it by conducting food drives.
That's right.
At our festivals, at our special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, housewarmings, right? And of course, we achieved this goal by raising funds. And funds are needed because the food bank is making sure that every meal distributed is a nutritious meal. And there are times when the food bank has to go out and purchase food. And there are also costs around logistics. If you can get the food at the right time to the right place, then the effort is lost.
That's right. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to be proud of. But I wanted to share something with you. a little bit about the HungerMitao story, if I may. How did HungerMitao come about, and what exactly is this animal called HungerMitao? So as I mentioned to you earlier, I've been in the United States since for 47 years now. All right. Anna has been here for almost 35 years, right? It was only 6 years ago when both of us came to know about the hunger issue in America. Only 6 years ago, we found out that 40 to 50 million people in America do not know where their next meal is coming from. As I said in my interview with WXYZ, that 40% of Americans are only $400 away from a crisis, right? When we learned about that, it was very, very unsettling.
We were shocked for a couple of reasons. Number one, the magnitude of hunger. And number two, that we were unaware for so many years. I mean, that to us was shocking in itself. So we decided to dig deeper. We did our due diligence. We joined several councils on North Texas Food Bank, which is our resident food bank. And we also found out what the solution was. And what we found out was, like Jerry mentioned, there's 200 food banks that are partners or members of Feeding America, and every county is covered. So we suddenly realized there's this mammoth engine that's working so well. So obviously we didn't need to recreate anything. We just needed to put our limited resources behind this juggernaut that works so well.
Exactly. So basically, when we came to an epiphany that it took us a long time to realize that hunger is an issue here in America. I mean, now imagine this. The entire world is trying to come to United States. United States is known as the land of milk and honey and plenty, right? Everybody's wanting to come here. We were involved in philanthropy for the last 20 years, but our dollars were going in emerging countries, third world economies, our home country. So much of it still goes there, by the way. But when we realized that hunger is the issue right here, we said we need to get involved. So we basically went to the CEO of North Texas Food Bank and we gave them our $100,000 check. And then we gave them an idea. We said, unless you involve the community, the hunger fight will always be a hunger fight, uphill battle. So let's engage the community. So we said that just like how we were unaware of the hunger issue here in America, very likely people from our community are also unaware of it. So at that moment, Anna and I decided to give 3 years of our lives, full-time volunteering for the food bank to help raise the awareness of the hunger issue. And then engage the community in the fight against hunger by joining forces, by helping the food bank. The CEO was blown away. She said, well, we never heard of anything like this before, but you know what we will do? We'll get the hell out of your way and you guys go make it happen. And that's exactly what we did. Right after we announced HungerMitao, that was our slogan, that was our rally cry.
So what's HungerMitao?
I mean,
what is HungerMitao? What does it mean?
Okay, HungerMitao, I think most everybody should know by now. It means wipe out hunger. That was the slogan. We just wanted not long mission statements that people need to memorize. We wanted 2 words that people can hear and immediately know what do we stand for.
That's right.
And
HungerMitao is a volunteer movement.
Yes.
It's not an organization.
Exactly.
It's not a 501c3. It is evangelizing the need out there and the work that's being done by the food banks. It's truly, and all of us who are part of HungerMitao are basically engaging the community with the food bank.
Correct.
As such, HungerMitao doesn't touch any money. The relationship is between the donor and the food bank.
Exactly right. So actually, from that perspective, we found out that there are 4 ways that HungerMitao can help the food bank. First and foremost was to raise awareness within the community that hunger is an issue right here, and there's a need that they need to get involved. Not just for them, but for the generations to come who have been born here, who will be living here. So that was one thing. Second, once the awareness is raised, we wanted to make kind of like what Anna says, take their crutches away. We wanted to give them simpler ways that they can engage. Money is not the only way. So we identified 3 ways, working with the food bank and Feeding America, that every one of us can get engaged. Number 1, volunteering. Number 2, food drives. Again, the food bank is able to get 3 meals to $1 because a large part of the food that they get is donated food. So we wanted people to convert their festivals, their special occasions, to conduct food drives so that the needy are taken care of while we are also celebrating. And the third thing is very important, which is the funds. And this is something, friends who have joined for the first time, I want to share with you why we chose to throw our support behind the food banks. Food bank doesn't just put food in the bellies of the hungry. They provide nutritious food to the needy, because they are not creating an issue down the road by just throwing whatever food that is donated and make it available to them. They actually make sure that the right balance of fresh produce, fruits, vegetables, protein, etc., is actually sent out as the box for the seniors or the backpack for the children. And that's what we love about what food bank does. So for that, clearly they need funds to procure those special food items, and also those large trucks that will get the food out to the pantries and their partners. So I'll summarize, my friends. HungerMitao is a movement to connect the community with the food bank. We are not a 501c3. We don't touch any money. Every dollar donated by you goes directly to the food bank. Every can of food that you donate goes right to the food bank. Every hour that you volunteer goes right to the food bank. All we are trying to do is evangelize and get the community engaged. And I want to share with you, Indian community, we are from India. We are goal-oriented people. We are logical people. We are mission-oriented people. So when we launched HungerMitao in 2017, on 29th September, we set a goal. We put an ambitious goal out there saying that the Indian community will enable 1 million meals here in North Texas for the food bank. We had no idea how long it will take. And right after that, Anna and I got to work. From 2 people at Starbucks to 20,000 people at the football stadium. We went and spoke. We wanted to open up the eyes of our community and let them know that hunger is an issue, my friends, and we need to do something about it. Can't be ignorant.
And the interesting thing was, there were a lot of people who were just not aware.
Exactly.
It wasn't like they didn't want to support this. They just didn't know.
Exactly. And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. This is one thing very important for all of us to know. An immigrant community knows the value of $1 more than anyone else, right? Because we have come here, we have established ourselves, we know what it takes to make that first dollars that we send back home to support family, dollar we are doing to get ourselves established. So to donate that dollar, we want to make sure that it in fact is going to the right cause. So they will take their time coming on board, but I want to share with you, friends, the Indian community, once they realize that this movement is transparent, has the highest level of integrity, and it actually is enabling food for the hungry, we actually crossed our first 1 million meals in 7 months. We would have been happy, it would have been a year or so, but in 7 months, we crossed the first 1 million meal. The word got out. 4 months later, second 1 million meals. The word got out across the country. Other food banks started calling us. Houston Food Bank reached out to us. At the launch, in the first hour of the launch, we raised 1 million meals. 10 entrepreneurs stepped up and said, nothing doing. If hunger is an issue, and we are all doing well here in this country, this land of opportunity that has given so much to us, 10 entrepreneurs stepped up, and each one of them committed to 100,000 meals. And we raised 1 million meal in the first hour of the launch in Houston. Friends, I don't want to bore you. We've given you a lot of stuff here, but where we are today, HungerMitao now is launched at food banks in North Texas, Tarrant area, which is Fort Worth, Atlanta, New York City, Houston, Seattle, and lucky 7 is Gleaners. So we are so excited and so pumped up about that. And we know that the Indian community in Michigan, I lived in Michigan again for a long time. So many of our friends are here. We are going to rock and we are going to make a huge difference. And I want to also share with you one other thing. we chose to work with the Indian American community to prove this model because we come from India. Most of our connections is from India. But coming from the corporate world, from get-go, we templatized everything. Ours is an open source model. Our vision has been that if this can work for the Indian American community, it can work for other communities. It could be the Korean community. It could be the Pakistani community. It could be the Bangladeshi, Chinese. It could be the LGBTQ community. It could be any group of people that call themselves community. And I'm happy to share with you that recently, beginning of this year, the Chinese American community reached out to us, especially after the pandemic. There was a lot of ethnic violence, etc., that was taking place. The Chinese community said, we need to be seen as a community that's giving back. They looked at the HungerMitao model and said, can we use this model? We not only gave them our model, we mentored them, we gave them all our network, and in a matter of weeks, we had them up and running. And in just 2 months, they raised 250,000 meals for North Texas Food Bank, and they are off to the races. We were hoping to only do this within the United States because the food banking system works within the United States, and we are big fans of that. But you'll be happy to know that Canada also reached out. Tata Consulting Services has adopted HungerMitao, and their Canadian employees actually got upset at us. They said, this is not fair. Why is HungerMitao only in America? We want you here in Canada. So we said, okay, if you are up to it, let's make it happen. And guess what, folks? We just did a HungerMitao month in August in Canada, and 13 food banks across Canada, they did food drives and raised funds and helped the needy in that region. So just sharing with you, the power of the community is what the HungerMitao brings to the table, and we are excited about this.
And like Raj said, we are so excited to be coming back home.
I have to tell you, folks, you don't know how many times I got the elbow here. I know I'm running over, but friends.
You're taking my time now. So thank you for joining today. And I know there's a lot of initiatives that are going on within our own friend circles in Michigan who are already supporting Gleaners. Please keep doing that. After the pandemic, the need is so great that we always tell our listeners and our friends to please plan their philanthropy budget for the next 3 years with a little portion going to the food bank, because the need will exist for a while. So thank you all. We are so happy together. Let's remember, our impact is amplified. And like you all heard, nothing's going to HungerMitao. It all goes to the food bank, which you are doing currently. And the food bank will then calculate the impact, and that enables us to tell a story. Together, we are able to tell a story. Together, we are able to proudly say that we have now enabled 40 million meals.
Yep.
Now, let me introduce somebody who's from Michigan, and most of you know her.
Yep.
And we had the pleasure of meeting Padma Kuppa a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was such a joyous meeting.
Yep.
State Representative Padma Kuppa is serving her second term representing Michigan's 41st House District, serving the people of cities of Troy and Clawson. So if we were in Michigan, you would have been our representative too. Yeah. Throughout her life, Padma has sought to bring people together to solve problems, both in the professional world and in the community. She was the first Indian immigrant and a Hindu in the state legislature, and a Michigander she's been Michigander for more than 20 years. Padma Kuppa is a strong believer in the value and power of unifying to amplify impact. And we are very happy that you have joined us today, Padma, to inspire us. Welcome.
Padma,
thank you.
I love the term unify to amplify. And since we spoke with you, we have borrowed that term to rally all the sub-communities of the Indian communities to join forces and make a unified impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I have a little story to tell, and that is that my parents actually lived here when I was growing up. And then we moved back to India, and I saw the hunger and the challenges in India, but I didn't know how to address them. And I also did not feel, even though I looked like everybody else, I didn't sound like everybody else. So after I got my bachelor's in engineering, I came back to the United States to pursue for graduate school as a foreign student, and went through the process that many immigrants do, which is to get their green card. Sometimes it's a very difficult process. But one of the things I always did was to volunteer. One of the reasons that my parents had returned to India was because they wanted to help the community that they were from. And so because they always said all politics is local, my father always quoted that phrase. He's a retired English professor. I knew that I needed to help locally. And so I got involved with different food banks, different pantries. In fact, when Raj and Anna talked about the issue of unifying across religions and unifying across linguistic backgrounds within the Indian community, that is what I have spent the last 20 plus years as a mom and a wife here in Michigan doing. And so when I heard about HungerMitao and what they were doing with the North Texas Food Bank, I had actually been trying to figure out, how do I connect with them? Because that's exactly what they're doing. What I have done as a legislator is to bring people across divides. And that is what I've always sought to do. And so it was very exciting for me to meet Anna and Raj. And actually, I want to give a quick shout out to Krish, because he came and shadowed me recently in the legislature. And, you know, it's really neat because he said that I'm going to be helping to start the chapter of HungerMitao. I said, perfect. And so then a good friend of mine, Corey Joyrich, who I know from years past of doing interfaith work, called me about a week later, and he said, hey, do you want to meet Raj and Anna? And here we are. So I'm very excited to see so many familiar faces, but also new friends. And one thing I request is everybody has 5 friends who are not here this evening. Tell 5 friends about HungerMitao, because this is something I think that's really important. When we are embedded in these communities where we pay our taxes, where we raise our children, where we go to worship, whether it's at a mosque, a gurdwara, a church, or a Hindu temple or a synagogue. I think it's really important that we also address the needs of the community that is here. In fact, that is why I decided as an engineer to give up my job and run for office, because public policy and ensuring that laws also reduce poverty and that we do things as government to ensure that the least amongst us are protected. And so this is a very amazing way to get involved, just directly to support an organization like Gleaners. And my history with Gleaners actually goes back to when I was part of an organization called Hindu American Seva Charities back in the early 2010s. And we did at Bharatiya Temple in Troy, we actually had a big bin to donate to Gleaners. Unfortunately, many of the Indian community did not understand that it wasn't a garbage can. So we had to make sure that we put lots of signage around it. But we did do that. And so now the temple does other things. But this is something that anyone, whether you're affiliated with a temple or not affiliated at all, supporting Gleaners through HungerMitao is a really great opportunity for us, as Raj said, to give back to our Karma Bhumi. Thank you so much for launching HungerMitao here in Michigan. And let's do 40 million meals in 4 years here in Michigan.
Love it, Padma, definitely. I think knowing Michigan, we should be able to blow through that shorter than 4 years. I will share with you that in preparation for today's session, when the word got out that HungerMitao is being launched, good friends like Parag Bajaj, Sangeeta LaForges from Ford, General Motors, good friends from Delta, pulled us in to come in and speak to the employee resource group. So dozens of people heard us, and hundreds of people then saw the message go out to them. So, and I love your model of if everyone can share about HungerMitao, right, and Gleaners Food Bank with 5 friends of theirs, I think we are off to the races.
Yeah, that multiplier effect will be amazing.
Big thing, correct. And I can't think of a better time than now to what we call for action. So friends, this is an opportunity I want to share with you. This is something that we do at every launch of ours. Because as Anna mentioned, this is not a Raj and Anna show. This is not an organization, and this is definitely not Raj and Anna's organization. This is a community-driven movement. So here is an opportunity for community members to establish their legacy, right? So we have what we call the Founders Circle. So this is the HungerMitao Gleaners Founders Circle. And we invite you to consider joining us, right? This is an opportunity to your leadership will come through, your legacy will be established, and it'll have a lasting impact in the lives of those around us who are struggling with hunger. Vijay, can you go to the next slide? So what are the benefits and expectation for a founder circle? Well, let me talk about the benefits up front. So as I mentioned, no other place will you get a good opportunity like this where it's a perpetual namesake recognition on the HungerMitao Gleaners webpage. You'll always be known as part of the founder circle. Second, you'll get special invitation to the HungerMitao Gleaners volunteering events and their signature events. Who knows? Maybe the Detroit Pistons are out there volunteering and they may say, come on, Founder Circle members, we have a couple slots open. Who wants to come in? I don't know if Lions people will come or not, but Pistons for sure. Just kidding. What is expected of you? Well, if you're part of the Founder Circle, we also expect you to be like the ambassador, like what Padma said, spread the word, raise hunger awareness. Mm-hmm. We're not twisting any arms, by the way. People will come at their own due time, but it is our job to let them know that, hey, there is an issue here, and if they can do something about it, let's do something about it. Host food drives, volunteer with friends and family member. Those are the basic things about being a Founder Circle member.
And I had to add a point here. Where else can you find a return on investment like you do here? That's right. So we are asking you to invest.
Invest, exactly. Invest in the future of our
health of our community.
The future of our next generation. That's what we have 4 grandkids, right? None of them are moving back to India. How else will they get integrated if we are not seen as a community that's also giving back? And this is an opportunity for us to do so. Vijay, next slide, please. So let me explain to you what this is all about, friends. So the Founder Circle is anyone who signs up to any of these, 6 circles. So basically, there's a commitment we are asking from on the low end bronze circle, 10,000 meals over 3 years, all the way to the transformers of 250,000 meals over 3 years. Vijay, can we just take out all the 3 columns? Great. So I just did some math here.
Yeah, it helps to translate it.
It helps to translate. So as we mentioned, the 10,000 and 250,000 looks like big numbers, but folks, at 3 meals to $1, and then you further spread it over 3 years, it really breaks down. Like you can enable 10,000 meals by just giving 1 dinner out a month. And you are actually providing 10,000 meals for the food challenge, for the needy. And the food bank has some fantastic program. Really have recurring payments, and that way don't need to worry about every month being reminded, etc.
Yeah. And many people work for companies that match employee donations. So there's so many ways to kind of wrap your heads around this. It's not a difficult decision to make because, I mean, there are so many levels.
Yeah.
So whatever is anybody's comfort level.
Exactly. To consider this thing, we'll come back and talk a little bit more on this front. But if you go to the next slide quickly, Vijay. So basically, those individuals who sign up to, individuals are businesses, by the way. right? Here in North Texas, I want to share something very innovative. A group of friends got together and they called themselves Friends Against Hunger. And they said, you know what, we don't want to make small impact, we want to make big impact. So they came together, they did the math, and they said, we will support 50,000 meals. And they call themselves Friends Against Hunger.
Yeah.
They volunteer together, they do food drives at their festivals, and then they come out and they make a donation as a group. So basically, this is the summary slide, friends. Those folks and businesses that collectively enable the first million meals through HungerMitao will be forever known as part of the Founders Circle. So this is something that I would request you to consider, keep in mind. And Vijay, at this point, would you like to play the first video from Feeding America?
And while Vijay's queuing that up, I also wanted to just say, if you're interested in learning more about this, please put it in the chat and we will make sure we get back with you.
And more importantly, if you're interested in signing up to one of these, put it in the chat, motivate others. This is not the time to be shy.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I am a 16-year-old boy who just got my first job to help feed my little sisters. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Great.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, Vijay. This was this video always gets me, and it gets me more because coming from India, our perception of hunger is so different than hunger here. In India, hunger is equated to homelessness. Right? Here in America, friends, it could be your next door neighbor who is hungry, right? No fault of theirs. They may have been laid off. There might have been a health issue or something unplanned. And suddenly they have to make decisions between medicine, mortgage, and food. And typically it is food that suffers. So the face of hunger is so different.
It is. And that is why there is so much I won't say ignorance, but that's why there are so many people who are unaware, especially people who come from places like India, because we just see a different thing when we go to India and we don't see that here.
Right. And Anna, I just saw a 10th grader just sign up and she says, count me in. Now that is the spirit. I love it.
Thank you, Ria.
Thank you, Ria. Really, really appreciate this. And friends, we did not plant her. Just wanted to make sure you all know that. This is Ria's good heart, good soul, her commitment to making sure that nobody goes hungry, that she wants to make a difference. And I tell you what, as Michiganders, Anna and I, we would like to commit to 100,000 meals. We live in Texas, but our heart is in Michigan. So Jerry, count us in for Platinum Circle. We are in, and we are in for the long run. And folks, please consider joining. If you need to take time, that's fine. But HungerMitao is now established at Gleaners, and the opportunity to be part of the Founders Circle is there. Please consider it. And but again, we are not doing it only for title and awards, as Damali mentioned, and Jerry mentioned that. But it's always good to be known, though, that we are part of the Founders Group. So come on, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I'm going to take a minute here and introduce 2 dynamic young individuals.
Rock stars.
Krish and Ria. Now, it is interesting. Krish and Ria, let me just make sure that I got the right school name for you.
Yes.
That's right. Where is that? Oh, there it is. Okay, so both of them are from the International Academy East, and both of them are 10th graders. And Chris reached out to me almost a year and a half ago, and he said, Uncle, I heard about this HungerMitao, and I want to do something good. I want to make a difference, etc. And since then, I've been talking to them, mentoring them. One thing that I tell them all the time, I said, this is good what you're doing, but this cannot let your grades suffer. I warn them. I want to kind of take a minute here, Chris and Ria, before you go on. There is a guru in India who says that human life is best lived in 3 stages: learning, earning, and returning. And I keep reminding Chris and Ria and others of their age, I'm really happy that you want to give back. So spend some time, but your majority of the time, if you use the 80-20 rule, should be in the learning stage. Because if you don't learn now, you won't earn much and you won't have much to give. So learning is where you need to focus on. But it's good that you're getting exposure to the giving side, because that will help you down the road. So without further delay, Krish and Ria, I'll turn it over to you.
So hello everyone. This is good. This is a change from all the email chains and everything that we've been going through since the past almost year. So from the start, I emailed Uncle about just giving back, because me and Ria really wanted to start an organization or something. And so we reached out, and then we got a response, and we were so excited. And then slowly started having Zooms and calls and from email chains. And then we started figuring out there's lots of logistics behind all these events and everything. And so, yeah, we were really excited. So about me, I'm Krishna Trani, and I'm one of the youth leaders here representing the HungerMitao youth group. So we're so glad to be here and share our journey with all of you. Our interest in getting involved in fighting against hunger started at the beginning of the pandemic, when our group of friends were shocked at the rates of unemployment and hunger in our community because of the pandemic. As mentioned earlier, the amount of hunger has risen a lot due to the pandemic, and we were really shocked as we saw the effects in our community. And so we looked at many ways that we could use our resources to benefit people around us. And so we found that food drives and collecting monetary donations would be a great idea to attempt combat food insecurity. So among our friend group, we were able to raise over $1,000 just by sending the link out to people we knew. And we started using our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to share the statistics and make people realize that just in our home community, there's this big problem. This initially impacted our understanding of HungerMitao movement and inspired us to get more involved. With the Indian American community, we were thrilled about today's launch, and working with Gleaners, we are excited that youth are an important part of HungerMitao and how we're the future leaders. And so at the end of the day, the responsibility will come to us. So right from the get-go, Mr. and Mrs. Asava guided us to stay focused on the cause and encouraged us to be more involved with the initiative. And we went about engaging the youth and the community. And so we got more people involved from not only our school, but all across Michigan. And we grew HungerMitao, and we've been getting almost 50 students just to join and then learn more. And once they started learning, they shared it to their friends, and we've been growing it like a tree ever since. Ria?
Hi everyone, I'm Ria Shah, and I'm also one of the youth leaders here. As Krish said, HungerMitao is a great way to increase the effects of our efforts exponentially. Through HungerMitao, our impact was able to become much more defined as a contribution from the Indian community as a whole, rather than just here in Southeast Michigan. We were also able to get more people involved in the movement across the state, and even have had the opportunity to start this incredible youth group in support of HungerMitao. Together, we've been able to raise an incredible amount of awareness for the issue of food insecurity, held local fundraisers, and even established the youth group for students all around Michigan.
Great.
Fantastic.
Great. Ria and my friend Krish, thank you so very, very much.
I would call you spark plugs, really.
That's right. That's for sure. And we'll continue to stay in touch. And it is amazing. They have created on Instagram, a HungerMitao youth group. They have created within Google a classroom about HungerMitao, and they have already have had several hundred folks of their age group who now heard about HungerMitao. And frankly speaking, it's not the HungerMitao part. It is through their communication, people are now learning about the hunger issue in Southeast Michigan, right? And then all these kids will come up with creative ways in which they will make a difference. So folks, we have some exciting news to share with you. Anna, would you please do the honors? We have Abha.
Yeah, we've got several people who've signed up, shown interest. Ria, Abha, Fadipe, Soumya, and Niranjan. And we're committed.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about volunteer hours, Raj.
Yes, please.
How do kids earn volunteer hours?
So one thing is that, with the lockdown, etc., we've been working with SEAL and the Gleaners Food Bank. So for the youth, we have some exciting news. So from your home, you could do what we call virtual funds for food drive for the food bank, right? And in the process, you can also earn volunteer hours. So what we negotiated with the food bank is that in the process of running your own funds for food drive, you will learn strategic planning, you will learn project planning, you will learn sales, marketing, canvassing, graphics, image, etc. So we talked to the food bank and we said, for every $100 that you raise for the food bank on your page, from 3 or more donors, you will get 1 volunteer credit hours. Okay.
Awesome.
Now I want to tell you that food bank was playing a little hardball with it. They said, "Hi, Raj, $500." I said, no, $100. Come on, let the kids be kids. Right? But nevertheless, so this is something that please share that with the youth group and get them excited. This is a great way. And the reason we want $100 from 3 donors is we don't want mommy and daddy to write a big check and then just get your volunteer hours. This has to be truly a learning experience. And one other thing I wanted to also ask folks, HungerMitao is now officially launched at Gleaners Food Bank. All right. Now, how will HungerMitao run going forward? That's a question you should all be asking us, right? HungerMitao, since it's not an organization, it's a movement. So the way we work is that we have what we call a steering council.
At each food bank.
At each food bank, right? So we are in the process of establishing a steering council at HungerMitao Gleaners. Now the steering council, once established, about 10 to 12 people, they will nominate, with the help of the food bank, what we call 2 co-chairs. The co-chairs are like the go-to person. They are the liaison between the food bank and the community, right? So the steering council will nominate that. That is all, because we want no bureaucracy. We don't want any titles, positions, etc. So with that in mind, we have the steering council in place. You want to say something?
No, I think it's a very short commitment. It's only the commitment of about an hour a week to come together with like-minded community leaders and strategize how the community you live in can meaningfully be engaged.
That's right. I mean, a simple example, a biggest Indian festival is around the corner, Diwali. So a steering council, if it were in place right now, they would just come together and brainstorm. All right, where are the Diwali functions going on? Can we also ask the promoter to, hey, bring a jar of peanut butter to donate to the food bank as people come to celebrate? Things like that. So that's what the steering council do in working with the food bank. So I'm very excited to share with you, this is one of the first launches where we already have members of the community have stepped up. So Srini Thonta and Parag Bajaj are 2 individuals, good friends of mine, that have said, we sign us up, we will commit to be part of the steering council. And we invite others. Vijay, can you put a PowerPoint slide up for a second?
About the steering council?
About the steering council. Let's move forward. Keep going.
Oh, one more.
No, a couple more actually. Keep going, Vijay. I think toward the end. I'm sorry about that. There, one before. There you go. Okay. So this is basically what we are asking you is if you can spare 1 hour a week. Typically, we have a 30-minute call and then 30 minutes for any follow-up things that you have taken a responsibility for. So join the steering council, be part of the one who making decisions and making a difference. And if you're interested, drop an email to Seal. And I want to also take this moment to say Seal is kind of shy, but she is our point person from get-go. When she heard about HungerMitao, she introduced us to Jerry, and a lot of energy, effort from her, from Corey, in getting us to where we are today.
And Jerry, thank you so much for Seal. Interestingly, we've worked with her for quite a while now, but virtually, and we look forward to seeing her when we are in Michigan later this week.
Great.
With this, I'd like to thank many of the ERGs who've joined: Delta, GMAC, Ford, GM, of course, Representative Padma Kuppa, the Maheshwari community, all of our friends there. And with that, I'd like to bring it back to Damali. We're running a little behind. So there's a video we wanted you to see, but we'll send you the link in the follow-up email that we send you. And Damali, it's back to you.
Thank you so much. Wow, this is great. I don't know about everybody else, but I feel really energized, and just on behalf of Gleaners, just really thankful for this opportunity to join the movement that is HungerMitao. Thank you so much, Raj and Anna, for your leadership and allowing us to join with you and you join with us in solving these problems of food insecurity. Krish and Rhea, your leadership at such a young age is admirable. You know, people say children will lead the way into the future. That's really true. You can teach us a lot about how to rally the troops and do things in new and different ways. So thank you for your leadership. Really, really impressive. Thank you, Representative Kuppa, for your words and just joining us in this fight. We learned a lot from you this evening. Vijay, thank you for keeping us on track and making sure all the technology worked. I appreciate that. Despite your best efforts, I still forgot to unmute myself in the beginning of this this session. I just happy to be part of lucky number 7 in this partnership, and encourage everyone to join the Founders Circle, and let's do good work together. With that, I'll turn it over to Jerry.
And again, you know, my thanks to all of you for listening and for paying attention and for, you know, helping to start and launch what I think is going to be a very exciting time for us here in Southeast Michigan. We do have a lot of work to do, but it's when the community gets together and decides to do it that you see amazing things happen. And so nice to hear from all the people who have already been involved. And Rhea and Krish, great work from you over there. You know, we're gonna take notes and see if we can do as well as you, getting all our friends involved. That's what we're gonna do. I'm just saying. But Raj and Anna, thank you again for your enthusiasm and your deep commitment to this issue. I mean, starting 1 would have been enough for most people. I'm guessing that starting 7 is just the beginning for the two of you. I'm just guessing. But we are so thankful to be part of the early adoption and creation of HungerMitao. And yes, we are grateful to have Seal too, and you can only borrow her, you can't keep her.
Jerry, I just want to let you know that my boys for my birthday surprised me by Isaiah Thomas video. So Isaiah Thomas actually sang happy birthday to me, and I did a bad boys dance. I was like, I mean, so you can tell we are true Detroiters. Both my boys were born in Detroit. Believe it or not, since we left Detroit, they are still rooting for the Lions. Some things I thought I taught them better, but but it is so good to be back home. And Parag is there. He knows from day one when he came to US, this was home. And outside of America, I'll be candid with you. If anything that felt home, it was Michigan. We just love it. And I know the generosity of the community is phenomenal. So to all the ERGs that Anna mentioned, folks, please do your due diligence. We encourage you to learn more about HungerMitao, and we totally understand. Take your time.
Gleaners.
I know about HungerMitao. Is HungerMitao, because sometimes people ask, what is your agenda? Our agenda is twofold, frankly speaking. It's a dual vision. Number one, we call ourselves a modern generation and there are people going hungry. Shame on us. That cannot be possible. How can we call ourselves a modern generation, right? That's number one vision. Let's make sure nobody goes hungry on our clock. Secondly, Indian American community. We are known as chief executives, business owners, entrepreneurs. Half of the Silicon Valley startups are done by us. Microsoft's CEO, Google's CEO are Indian origin, right? Our children are spelling bee champion. But when it comes to giving locally, we are not seen. Let's up our game there. Let's get involved. Our tagline under HungerMitao is give where you live. So that is all I want to say. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah.
And we are pumped up. Let's
Can you tell?
Let's make sure that before the end of the year, we definitely cross the 1 million meals. Maybe sooner than that, but.
Thank you all for your time today. Seal.
So I would like to thank people too. Raj says I'm shy. Actually, I can't get a word in edgewise. But anybody who's interested in being involved, you can find me on the Gleaners website. I really want to thank Damali and Sara for joining us tonight. Really appreciate their top Gleaners volunteers. So stay in touch, and I hope to meet Krish and Raya soon.
Great.
As well.
Thank you, Seal.
Thank you. And Vijay, I think, do we have that fun video that you want to close it on? I think that's something Seal wanted us to do.
I did.
That was Seal's wish. So I don't take much pride in that video, but because of Seal, we are going to show this to you all.
And thank you all and have a great night.
That's right.
Thanks, everyone.
And
Thank you.
As you can see, we work hard, we play hard. That's how we do it.
We want that at Gleaners.
Definitely.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Talk
so
to you
very much,
soon.
everyone.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you, everyone. Thanks, Rajanana. See you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank
Yep.
you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.